Imagine waking up one morning, opening your laptop, and reading a headline that makes the world's smartest scientists question everything they thought they knew about the universe. Not a small thing, not a minor correction, everything. The very foundation of how the cosmos was born, how it grew, and what it is right now. That is exactly what happened when the James Webb Space Telescope sent back its latest data, and the scientific community has not been the same since. Brian Greene, one of the most brilliant minds in modern physics, called it one of the most unsettling moments in contemporary science. So today we are going to find out why. Let me take you back to the beginning. Not your beginning, not my beginning, but the beginning of everything. About 13.8 billion years ago, the universe exploded into existence from a single point smaller than anything you can imagine. We call it the Big Bang. And for decades, scientists built this incredibly detailed model of how the universe expanded after that moment. They called it the Standard Model of Cosmology, and it was beautiful. It explained how galaxies formed, how stars lit up the darkness, how matter spread across billions of light years. It was the crown jewel of modern science. And then James Webb showed up and started poking holes in it. Here is where it gets really interesting. One of the biggest assumptions in our cosmological model is something called the Hubble constant. This is basically the universe's expansion rate, a number that tells us how fast the cosmos is stretching apart. Scientists calculated this number using older telescopes and distant supernovae, those brilliant explosions that happen when massive stars die. They got a number. They were confident. They celebrated. And then Webb looked deeper than any telescope had ever looked before, and the number came back different. Not slightly different, significantly different. And that difference, that tiny gap in a cosmic measurement, is what sent scientists into a quiet, polite kind of panic. Think about it like this. Imagine you are building a skyscraper. You measure the foundation 1,000 times and always get the same number. You build the entire structure based on that measurement. Now imagine someone brings in a brand new, incredibly precise laser measuring tool, scans the foundation again, and the number is off. Just a little, not a lot, but enough that every single floor above it is now slightly crooked. That is what Webb did to cosmology. It measured the foundation of our universe, and the numbers do not quite add up. Now Brian Greene explains this beautifully. He says the universe is not doing what our equations predicted. And when the universe stops following your equations, you do not throw out the universe. You throw out the equations. Or at least you go back and start asking whether something is missing. And that something, that missing piece, is what has physicists whispering about things they have barely dared speak out loud before. Things like new physics. Things like a fifth force of nature. Things like a kind of energy woven into the fabric of space itself that we never fully understood. You have probably heard of dark energy. It is this mysterious force that makes up about 68% of the entire universe, and we have almost no idea what it actually is. We know it exists because the universe is expanding faster than it should be. We know it is there the same way you know someone walked through a room because the candle flickered. You see the effect, not the cause. But what Webb is suggesting, through its extraordinarily precise observations, is that dark energy might not be constant. It might be changing. It might be evolving over time. And if that is true, then the entire timeline we built for the universe needs to be rewritten. Here is the thought experiment that will make this click. Picture the universe as a giant loaf of raisin bread baking in an oven. As the bread rises, the raisins move apart from each other because the dough between them is expanding. That is how galaxies drift away from each other. Now, we always assumed the oven temperature was constant. Steady heat, steady expansion. But what Webb is showing us is that the oven temperature might be changing. Maybe it was hotter early on, cooled down in the middle, and is now heating back up again. If that is true, the entire recipe of the cosmos is different from what we thought. And it goes even deeper than that. Webb has been observing some of the earliest galaxies ever seen, galaxies that formed just a few 100 million years after the Big Bang. And here is the thing that nobody expected. These galaxies are too big, too bright, too mature. According to our models, galaxies that formed so early should be small, messy, chaotic infant structures. But Webb is showing us these enormous, well-organized, almost fully formed galaxies sitting there in the ancient universe like fully grown adults who should only be toddlers. And that makes no sense under our current understanding of how structure forms in the cosmos. Brian Greene puts it in a way that gives you chills. He says it is like finding a 40-year-old man living in what we thought was a nursery. The discovery is not just surprising, it is structurally incompatible with what we know. And structurally incompatible is exactly the kind of phrase that makes physicists lose sleep. So what does this mean for you and me sitting here on this small blue planet? Well, it means we are living in an extraordinary moment in human history. A moment where our best theories are being stress-tested by the universe itself, and the universe is winning. It means that somewhere out there in the equations, there is a door we have not opened yet. And behind that door might be the most profound discovery in the history of science. Some researchers are now entertaining ideas that were once considered fringe. Maybe the speed of light was not always constant in the early universe. Maybe there are extra dimensions of space curled up so tightly we have never noticed them but that have influenced how matter clumped together. Maybe dark energy is not one thing but several overlapping phenomena we have been lumping together, like calling all weather just weather without distinguishing between a sunny day and a tornado. What makes Webb so powerful, and what makes this moment so different from other discoveries, is the sheer precision and depth of what it sees. Previous telescopes gave us blurry postcards from the ancient universe. Webb is giving us high-definition photographs with timestamps. And those timestamps are not matching our calendar. The universe appears to have done things faster, bigger, and earlier than our models allow. And that discrepancy, that beautiful, terrifying discrepancy, is the crack in the wall where the light of new physics is starting to shine through. Brian Greene reminds us that this is how science has always worked at its greatest moments. The universe sends us a signal that something is wrong, and we discover something incredible in the process of figuring out why. Einstein did not set out to overthrow Newton. He was just trying to explain a discrepancy in Mercury's orbit. And in doing so, he gave us general relativity, GPS satellites, black holes, and a completely new understanding of space and time. That same electricity is in the air right now. Scientists are not panicking out of fear. They are panicking out of excitement, because they can feel in their bones that something enormous is about to change. We stand at the edge of a new map. The territory beyond what we know is vast and strange and waiting to be named. And the James Webb Space Telescope, floating silently in the cold dark a million miles from Earth, is sending us the first light from that unmapped country. If this kind of cosmic storytelling makes your brain light up, hit that like button because it genuinely helps this channel reach more curious minds just like yours. Subscribe if you want to be here when the next discovery drops, because in this era of Webb, things are moving fast. And drop a comment below with this one question. If you had to guess what Webb discovers next, what would it be? The best answers might just end up in a future video. Because here is the thought I want to leave you with today. Every time we built a telescope powerful enough to see further than before, the universe surprised us. Webb is the most powerful eye we have ever opened. And something tells me we have not seen anything yet.